This is very difficult. Good afternoon and hi, good afternoon and welcome on our Road to BizTech series, the Jamaica Technology and Digital Alliance Lunch and Learn, where we're discussing FinTech 101, navigating the FinTech ecosystem. Now, BizTech conference is November 14th to 15th. November 14th, completely virtual. November 15th, in person, and we're so excited because we have one of our esteemed speakers with us who will be on the Innovating Finance panel. Chief Product Officer Lynk, John Matthew Sinclair. Welcome, John.
Hey, Alexia. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you. And, I just want to add, BizTech could not be possible without some of our amazing sponsors. So I just want to say a big thank you to Optimity Group, PBS Technologies, IBM, eGov, Info Exchange, Visual Tech, Manage Engine, Grid Dynamics, Startup AI, Innovate 10X, Learn, Grow, Invest. Now, John, we know you're one of our esteemed panelists for the Innovating Finance panel on November 15th. We want to kick things off. Can you provide an overview of the current state of the FinTech ecosystem in Jamaica?
Absolutely. So, I'm in the fintech space. It's a space that I've been looking at for years. When I was in university, fintech never really existed, right? The term wasn't what it is now. There was always finance and technology paired together, but no, it has become an entire ecosystem and an industry that a lot of persons are striving to jump into. So let's talk about the financial ecosystem in Jamaica, the fintech ecosystem in Jamaica. Did you know that we are ranked 92 in the world in fintech and startups, right? Based on an index put out by the Star Group. And what this means is that Jamaica itself, based on the infrastructure that is provided and the talent that we have, the bright people that come out of Jamaica, we're able to develop and deploy solutions via technology for financial inclusion and financial access. So that's big. Jamaica is small, and we have achieved a lot of things with this small island, but for us to be ranked in the top 100 is big. I think the highest we have ever been is 86. We're now at 92, but that also is bolstered by the BPOs and the KPOs that are coming to Jamaica to offer the services that provide access to finances for persons around the world and in Jamaica. Outside of that, what we're seeing a lot of foreign direct investment coming into Jamaica. A lot of persons are coming here to gobble up the talent. A lot of persons are coming here to plant roots because Jamaica is also seen as a testing ground when accessing the first world market. We are very susceptible and accommodating to technology in different spurts. But what this allows a lot of companies, even Lynk where I'm at, to do is test the market before we decide to scale. And the last thing about that I want to mention, there are a lot of things I want to mention about the fintech ecosystem. I know this is not an infinite conversation, but one of the big things that we're seeing now is that there's a lot of support and help from the central bank. So the central bank, the Bank of Jamaica, has launched the FinTech Sandbox for persons who want to get into that space and offer financial services through digital and through technology. And that is done through partnerships with a bank. And they have also launched a central bank digital currency, CBDC, dubbed JAMDEX, which shows that they are in support of financial access through digital means. And then, when you look at it holistically, what FinTech brings to Jamaica is the idea of open banking, right, which is new, AI and machine learning, digital cross-border payments. A lot of us collect remittances, and we know that, boy, you have to take up yourself, join line, and wait there. Yeah. No, fintechs through their digital channels and rails can allow for quick cross-border transactions to happen. And then, of course, you have RegTech and crypto. So all of these things are coming into this space, and some things are regulated, some things are unregulated. But the point is that through digital and through the bright minds that we have here, somebody's going to put something together, come up with products that allow for quick financial access for most Jamaicans who are underserved and underbanked.
All right, thanks so much, John. So I loved how you talked about the regulatory framework. That leads me into my other question. How has the regulatory framework evolved over the years?
So let's look at, I'm not that old, right? But how it would work is most persons who have access to, provide financial instruments would usually be banks, credit unions, merchant banks, etc. And that's how it was for a while. And then fast forward to about late 2000s, early teens, what we started to see is the posture of the regulator changing a bit, where they started to offer smaller companies who had to partner with these regulated institutions to then offer digital financial solutions to Jamaicans. So the BOJ launched the Electronic Retail Payment Service Act, sometimes in the 2000s, the ERPS, which most persons utilize to tap into the fintech space. And then what they did is they said, look, let's not dictate how a fintech should operate. Let's create a framework that the fintech can operate within. And that is based on the risk appetite, that is based on a whole host of things that are now controlled by the fintech but regulated by the BOJ. And they launched the fintech sandbox. Don't remember the date, but I want to say in about 2016, in about 2018. And then during COVID, of course, no, it was during COVID, about 2019, 2020. And then that took off now, where you have a lot of people tapping into the space who want to offer, card services, wallets, digital loans. BOJ now regulates the microfinance industry. So their regulatory framework now, is not as strict as you would think it is, which is good. It allows for innovation and opportunity. And based on that, there's also comfort in the Jamaican public, because you know that whatever is coming out is being regulated by an institution that has kept us alive through many different economic shocks. So there's the BOJ with their sandbox, with the digital sandbox, and anybody can jump into the sandbox. The application process is fairly easy. Just know that depending on what you want to offer, you might have to partner with a regulated financial institution or deposit-taking institution. And then there are supporters of fintech growth based on policies like DBJ, right? So they have the biggie ecosystem, which is boosting innovation, growth, and entrepreneurship ecosystem. There's also IDB, who has always been by our sides as it relates to fintech and innovation and startups. And then you have the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, who is also in support of MSMEs in their drive to become more digitally savvy and to offer more solutions to people. Because, digital gives you reach. So all of these things form a part of our regulatory framework, which makes Jamaica a very popular and enticing place for people to start a business, especially a digital business.
Hey, thank you so much, John, giving us a wealth of information with the sandbox and what is happening in the space. I feel like I'm learning so much more about fintech and how it is helping to boost businesses. Now, you've touched on partnerships. What I want to ask you is what are some of the startups, the fintechs making waves within the space?
Boy, that's a tough question, Alexia, because every day I scroll through LinkedIn or IG and I see a new company offering some type of financial service. But the ones that are making waves now, naturally, there's Lynk, TFOB through NCB, right? We're still making our waves with what we're doing now and what we have to offer. SVL also has a fintech, right? And it's exciting to see what they're coming up with. If you're following the news, they have a remittance license, they have a microfinance license, and all of these things, when put together, create a very attractive ecosystem for people to interact with. And these are trusted brands. There's also WePay. WePay has been here for a while offering card services. There's Easy Payments. I was on a panel last year, this time with Narda Ventura, and Easy Payments as a payment facilitator and aggregator. And then not the banks, right? The banks are naturally tapping into the fintech space through NCB, TFOB, the owner of Lynk was started. But JN is coming out with JN Pay. Sagicor, we can't sleep on Sagicor. Sagicor doing a lot of things. BNS, as you know, can take all of their machinery from Canada and bring it to Jamaica, which will provide a lot of innovation and cool tools. And then we have the MFIs. We have a lot of microfinance institutions out there offering services. Ready Cash is just recently launched through Court. They're doing a lot of things digitally. You have Dollar Finance, you have Sprint, all of these guys, and they're also being tapped by foreign direct investors to come into the space and help to build them to grow. So you see a lot of things happening, and then these are just what I know, right? If you were to put out a poll, you're going to find out there are a lot of startup and fintechs out there building their tools, and just waiting on the opportunity to get them exposed to the Jamaican public. And the universities are also doing a lot. There's a whole innovation lab at UTech, which I think is sponsored by Sagicor, and they're also launching some new tools, especially around financial inclusion, up in that population. So it's a very exciting space to watch. Most of the graduates know when they leave the university, they want to work at a fintech or a startup, just because of the innovation that it brings and the excitement. So, I think our landscape is going to change in the next 5 years. I won't even say 10 years. 10 years is a long time, right? But in the next 5 years, we're going to see a lot of changes happening in the space, a lot of collaboration with banks to offer better financial instruments, higher financial inclusion to most Jamaicans.
All right, I love that, John. You mentioned a lot of activities happening within the space, with the SVL, with Ready Cash. Just want to do a plug, everyone. Again, our innovating finance panel will include John Matthew Sinclair, Atasha Bernard from Ready Cash, Monique McIntosh from Sky Blue Transaction, Eldred Garcia from First Atlantic Commerce. So it's going to be a robust discussion on November 15th. Now, John, you mentioned inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Is fintech impacting financial inclusion and accessibility for Jamaican citizens? I know for companies like yourself, Lynk, you mentioned WePay, allowing MSMEs that access to receive payments in a timely manner, which was not necessarily the case before.
Right.
Helping assisting with their whole digital transformation. So can you touch on that a bit more?
Sure. So let's look at one of the big problems that most fintechs are trying to solve. So the ecosystem existed before the fintech, and the ecosystem is usually, as we would call it, traditional. And in it, there are some pain points. Sometimes you have to visit a branch of a bank to do some transactions, or you're collecting remittances cross border. It's going to take some time. You have to walk with your documents and all sorts of birth certificate and things that become cumbersome and lengthy in the process. What the fintechs are trying to do is reduce the pain in most of these processes. So what we're seeing now, our job is to digitize a process, make it easier and more accessible to all. And Jamaica is saying, if we're focusing on payments, which is where I sit, Jamaica is very cash heavy. So a lot of our transactions happen in cash. But cash doesn't have a far reach, right? I can't use my cash and buy something online. And COVID has shown us that we have to learn to pivot, right? So before, a man was okay selling stuff outside on the roadside, set up him liquor shop, and when COVID hit, his customers were gone. So he had to reach them, he had to make money. So he had to now turn some of his channels online. And how do you collect? You can't collect cash online. So you have to pivot to cards and wallets and all of these different creative measures, bank transfers. So my point is that what the fintechs are doing is utilizing digital technology for KYC, onboarding, all of the things that usually require a physical transaction, digitizing those so that it's easier to onboard, and then from there making it easier for you to transact and interact and transfer funds. So you are the merchant, I am the consumer. Digitization allows me to sit down here in my home and purchase something from your store, and through some digital partnership, I have it delivered to my home same day, and everybody wins from that, right? So our job as a fintech is really to reduce the pain point in whatever whatever value stream you have now, provide an easier, faster way to do it digitally, and of course create some innovation in the space. It have to be cool, right? You do it, the more and more you like it, is the more and more you think it cool, and the more you feel into it. And then of course a big part of it is financial inclusion, right? A lot of Jamaicans are underserved, and again, it's because the system, they deem it a little difficult to tap into the system, so they stay under the radar. What the fintechs are supposed to do is become a friendly figure, a friendly face. Most of us are utilizing a phone. Everybody has a phone. Most people have a smartphone now, and utilizing that common and comfortable device to do your transaction. So you feel in touch with the brand, and then you feel in touch with the process. And based on that, the fintechs are there to help to fill that gap. Again, partnering with the banks to ensure that everybody wins.
I love that, because we know many persons are underserved. They have many MSMEs, they have many entrepreneurs who, they're saying the banking is very cumbersome. So guys, utilize the fintech payments, the gateways, to ensure the longevity of your business and to really pivot. No, I love how you said that, because it lends to something else. A lot of companies are a bit fearful of tapping into some of the financial services. So how can they protect the data when tapping into these services. We know that we are in the cyberspace. We're in, persons have to be concerned, as you may know, John, about cybersecurity,
Absolutely.
upcoming Data Protection Act. How do you secure that data? What are some steps that you would suggest in
Mhm.
ensuring the security when using these, when using fintech services?
Well, what I can say is this: one, you have to stay vigilant because the scammers them real, right? We hear about the stories every day. I am convinced that there's a scamming university that these guys go to because they're bright, right? They're usually one step ahead, right? When you put in some security measures, they move on to something else already. So there's obviously a space that they're tapping into where they are being enriched with knowledge on how to crack systems. And it's a job. It's a legit job that some people actually aspire to do. um so for us, I would say, as an MSME and even a consumer, you have to stay vigilant. You have to be aware of who you're interacting with. The beauty about the BOJ, the central bank, being involved is that the sandbox regulatory requirements requires frequent audits, frequent review of processes, partnership with a deposit taking institution who, by the way, is regulated by the BOJ and goes through a lot of stringent audits as well. So all of these processes require compliance reviews, risk reviews, technology reviews, so that the ecosystem that is being created is not compromised, right? Because you're as strong as a weakest link, and you don't want a player coming in that's going to compromise the entire ecosystem. And people say, say I'm not doing this wallet thing again because it's being a scammer, and therefore I'm going to go back to my cash. So if another wallet provider is out there that is compromising the ecosystem, it also affects me. So together we have to work to ensure that this ecosystem is not compromised. Outside of that, though, the Data Protection Act is also out there. This is something that comes into effect this month, right? So a lot of companies are putting together, data protection officer, their data protection activities, which means that there are laws now around how you share and protect data, whether it's at rest or in motion. So look out for that. There should be terms and conditions. There should be call to actions in your interaction that says I don't want to share, or I'm okay with you sharing information. And it also speaks to where the information is stored. And then as an individual or business, you have to know, you use your strong passwords, and always change your passwords ever so often. Once you feel that you have been compromised, report it to the relevant authorities. Be cautious of links. Phishing and smishing is real. And smishing is when you get an SMS that says, "Hey Alexa, I've for whatever reason I know that you're utilizing a service, typically a banking service, and I send you an SMS that says, "Hey, your account has been compromised, or we're updating our security features, and we want you to change your password." And it looks legit. You click on it, you look on the URL, it probably spell the name of the company slightly incorrect, but it's not something that you would be able to pick up. And then when you click on it, it brings it to a website that looks just like the company's site. You enter your username, you enter your password, you enter your new password. Nothing happens because what they're doing is capturing all that information to compromise the account. So be very wary of links. Secure your device. Look, I tell people that it's not just a company laptop must have an antivirus protector. Your personal laptop should have one as well, because that's where you store all your personal things, right? The company is already doing what they need to do to protect their data. You need to do the same on yours, right? So virus protectors are now fairly affordable. I will spend the money on it because I am very data centric. Security centric, but I do, and safeguard your personal information. Just be careful who you're sharing with, what you're sharing, and that's just, those are the steps that I would take. There are a lot more, and we can have a whole, session on security. But these are some of the things that I would definitely put in place. As a business, though, ensure that you adhere to data protection. The knowledge that you gain from tapping into the Data Protection Act is good for your business. It's good for you to ensure that your customers' data is safeguarded, right? And of course, put the typical protocols and processes that you need to put in place. And if you're a fintech coming in under the BOJ sandbox, you will benefit from, I don't want to call it strict, but you will benefit from the frequent audits that come in to ensure that you're doing the right things to protect the ecosystem.
Okay, thank you so much, John. I agree with that. So if anybody is listening to this session, make yourself aware of the upcoming Data Protection Act, learn about some cybersecurity initiatives. We will actually have a panel on navigating compliance Data Protection Act on November 15th with some stalwarts. in the area of data protection, Chokema Cameron, Design Privacy, Chavanese Arnold, PLMC. So look out for that. As I said before, John Matthew will be on the Innovating Finance panel, and we're just touching a bit on what you can expect on that panel, but there will be so much more. Now, John, we want to hear your final thoughts as we're about to wrap up on this space. What do you think? You spoke on it, the next 5 years will be very innovative. Do you hope to see more startups? Do you hope to see more underserved persons within the community utilizing fintech services? What are your expectations in that regard?
So whilst I won't claim to know that I say that I can predict things. What I hope, what I hope to happen is that a lot of our underserved, the population taps into the digital space in a very comfortable way, so that they can now access financial services. When I was at Credit Info, what we realized is that you had a lot of people who were paying, these micro loans to the MFIs, to the microfinance industries, institutions, to even courts, and this data wasn't going through the traditional channels. So even though they're in good standing, they couldn't tap into getting a motor vehicle loan or a mortgage because they had no history. And this is just because these entities weren't officially regulated by the BOJ. Now with the regulations, regulatory arm spreading its wings, what I'm hoping is that with all the data that we can now collect on our individuals, we can provide more products and services to allow them to access finances quickly. What I also hope is that, of course, the digital wallets take off. As I always tell this joke, I can leave my house and I forget my wallet and I might turn back, right? If I leave my house and forget my phone, I'm making a U-turn very quickly, because the phone is what I use to do most of my business. I chat, I send picture, check IG, I do this and that, and then of course now I can spend on it. So through one very common and secure device, right? Because my phone is secure, I can do most of my business and don't feel as though not having my wallet puts me at a disadvantage. So look out for it. I was on a panel a couple of weeks ago, put on through IDB, and what I saw there's a lot of innovation in the art space, right? Events management, and I saw some really cool platforms being built by teenagers, right? Teenagers to the young 20s, and I was really impressed. So if these guys get an opportunity and a platform to spread their wings and bring products to life, then I think Jamaica itself will change. I was reading an article last night that popped up around the fact that Jamaica could become the new Silicon Valley of the Caribbean. Strategically, we are located near to the US and right beside LATAM, right? We're not heavily Spanish speaking, but we should be, and I think that's going to change over time. But the point is that our location is not just big on shipping and logistics; it's also big on talent and how we can develop products and provide them to local markets and wider markets. So I expect in the next couple of years for us to see, a whole fintech park, innovation park. I know the Ministry of Industry and Investment is trying to build out a whole innovation and fintech park in Cayman, as I think it is. I'm going to say a lot more business is being started online. It's very easy to register a company or a company's office. All these university students, I'm going to encourage you to look into entrepreneurship first, and then you can decide if you want to jump into the 9 to 5. But think about entrepreneurship first. Scan Jamaica, scan the Caribbean, look for problems, and decide how quick you can fix them, because we have a whole heap of bright people out there.
I love that you mentioned that we're like the hub for talent, which we know at the Jamaica Technology and Digital Alliance that Jamaica is a hub. We have so many talented individuals, professionals, managers, and entrepreneurs who are just waiting to showcase their talents and given that opportunity. So I love that you mentioned that about the article on us being the Silicon Valley. I really think that is something that can happen once all hands are on deck, or from a legislative standpoint, a framework standpoint, everybody on deck to move us in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know John mentioned that, everyone in, and I'm going to keep saying it, that you need to come and see John, Eldred Garcia, Monique McIntosh, Atasha Bernard, Ready Cash at Innovating Finance, where you're going to learn more, not only about payments, but the trends. You see, John gave you a little bit here, he gave you like a tips, because the last couple weeks he's been on all these discussions. So he can tell us, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, what we need to be doing, what are the trends within the space. He mentioned SBL coming out, digital wallets. Don't be afraid to embrace these unique activities, these, these unique things. I know sometimes persons can be a bit fearful of embracing FinTech services, but I'm telling you, research, contact John Matthew on LinkedIn. I know that he will be there to assist. And so any follow-up question, he will respond to you and really showcase what is happening. We learned about the sandbox. We learned about microfinance. There is so much that I have learned personally from John in this discussion right here. And I want to say, John, thank you so much. I can't wait for November 15th at the summit to see you in action, telling us.
Come out. It will be worth it. Trust me.
Yes, guys. John is saying, our esteemed speaker for BizTech 2023, John Matthew Sinclair, who will be on our innovating finance panel. See, he gave us a teaser of what you can expect and what are you waiting for. Why haven't you bought your ticket? It's biztechcomp.com. Buy your ticket today. You're going to hear John tell you about all the things in the space. You're going to hear about data protection. You're going to learn about cybersecurity, ransomware attacks. You're going to learn about digital transformation, scalability, how to pivot in Latin America and North America, because I know that many MSMEs, corporate organizations are looking to take those next steps. AI for your business. We hear a lot about ChatGPT, but there's so much more within the space. November 14th to 15th. November 14th will be completely virtual. November 15th will be in person at this summit, and you need to get your tickets. Once again, this BizTech conference is brought to you by Optimity Group, PBS Technologies, IBM, eGov, IBS Technologies, Info Exchange, Visual Tech, Manage Engine, PLMC, Grid Dynamics, Star Apple AI, Innovatenics, Vertis Technology, Learn, Grow, Invest. John, it was a pleasure. Can't wait to hear more. Thank you so much for being a part of our Lunch and Learn series.
Looking forward to seeing everybody on the 14th and 15th. Don't forget to come out to my panel. It will be exciting because a lot of bright minds are going to be put into one space.
One space, all the bright minds in one.
Convergence of talent.
Yes, love that convergence of talent. And just reminding everyone, November 5th, November 14th and 15th, November 15th, we'll have Dr. Ingerton Hart telling us what is happening in the space. We're going to hear about pivoting, startups and scalability. There'll be representatives from DBJ, Chris Brown, Program Manager of Big E. We'll hear from Tasty Blackman, Technology Innovation District Zone Manager. We will be hearing about navigating compliance, data protection. I mean, we've heard about it, what is happening. So we look forward to seeing you at BizTech 2023. Bye.